It's just a different perspective,
Yeah.
but we're taught just to see this way,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything else doesn't exist, and that's just not true.
Hear those sirens outside, I think it's going down.
Hello, welcome to RVA Mag. My name is Sofia Feliciano, and I am your host of today's episode. Do you ever think about what your cat, your dog, your fish, your hamster is thinking? Could you imagine what it would be like to talk to them the same way that I'm talking to you right now? Would you believe me if I told you that there is a woman that lives like that? She's been living like that for 68 years. And her name is Shirley Hyatt. Shirley Hyatt is a interspecies communicator, and it's her full-time profession. The first time I met Shirley was through TikTok. Her daughter Holly started the account for her, and most videos are Shirley reacting to viral animal videos and then translating what the animal is thinking or feeling in the video. And I couldn't tell you, there's just something about the way that she spoke with this calm certainty that I just believed her. And then after watching her videos for a while, I couldn't help myself. I have a little calico cat, her name is Tomato. Just looking at her little green eyes, there was just something I felt like she wanted to say to me, and I couldn't hear it, or she couldn't communicate. And so I spent $125 for a 30-minute phone call with Shirley. And I remember being skeptical, worried that nothing she would say was going to resonate with me, that I had just been tricked into wasting my money. But by the end of that phone call, I was a full-blown believer. It truly felt like Shirley was merely a translator between me and my best friend. Tomato said that she had lived many lives before, that we all have lived many lives before, that she'd been a person before, and she'd also been a jaguar in the southern Americas. She said that my late grandfather visited us all the time, and that he's very mellow, which he was very mellow. It truly changed the way that I saw the world, and I know that it's something that will stick with me for the rest of my life. And so I was beyond excited when Shirley agreed to sit down for an interview with me. Shirley says that we all have this ability to talk to animals the way that she does, but we lose it when we're young. And so I wanted to ask her more questions about that, about human intuition and why we lose connection with it, and what we can do to reconnect and be more open with ourselves and others. And so that's why the theme of today's episode is share. This is me, this is you, and we are sharing this mini slugger's baseball bat. And at the end of the episode, let us know what you think about interspecies communication. Do you believe it? Do you not? Let us know. I'm Sofia Feliciano. Thank you for listening. Interjection from editor Sofia. As I'm editing and rewatching this intro, I guess I should have made a point about how crazy this is, okay? Yes, nobody in my life believed me at first. No one in my life truly believed me. My mom thought I was crazy. My friends, some of my friends thought I was crazy. But nothing can change my mind. This is serious to me. This is serious to me, and that's why I was so serious in that intro. But I understand that it's crazy, and a lot of people don't believe it, especially right off the bat. But I just want us to keep our mind open. The theme is share. Let's remember that. Share our minds with this podcast. Why don't we? Okay, enjoy. Well, first I want to say thank you for being here and taking the time to sit down and have an interview with me. I really am excited. I feel like I'm interviewing like my favorite singer or something. Like I've been following you for a while, and
Mhm.
this is just awesome. So
So
first, I just wanted to ask some questions about you as a person. You've been able to talk to animals your entire life, or different species of beings, but have the messages always been the same? Do you remember what it felt like when you didn't have the words to express it?
um, okay, so that's a good question, and a lot of the people that ask, like, when did this happen? And I don't know when it didn't happen because maybe it's my karma, dharma, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. But my mother was pretty eccentric and wonderful. I mean, she took really good care of me. But somehow, when they brought me back from the hospital, we lived out in the country. Kind of, it was kind of country now. It's not. Um, but there was like a two-lane highway right at the bottom of our property, and the person across the street um, raised racehorses. And what happened was he had a prize broodmare, and from the time they brought me home, she would jump out of her stall or she'd jump out of the pasture, and she'd cross the street and she'd come and stand on my dad's brand new lawn. He didn't even have a pasture or anything, and she'd stay there, and they would have to put the halter on her and take her back. But she'd keep doing that, and they would have to put both doors, like she had Dutch doors on her stall, and they had to put both of them and shut her in. And so my father, he was like a lobbyist in the lumber business. He just said, "Well, fine, we'll build a." He built a safe corral around his lawn, so she couldn't get to it, and it went all the way around our house. And our house was like made with, believe it or not, telephone poles and glass. It was like a famous architect made it, and
Mm.
so any room you looked in, the walls were like solid glass. You could look right out.
Mm.
And this was, I was born in 58, so it was very, very different. And my mom noticed that whatever room I was in, if she looked out the window, the horse was out the window, just waiting. And if she put me down for a nap, the horse stayed out my window wherever I was napping, and she could go and do things. So by the time I was walking around a little bit, she thought she had the perfect babysitter, which she did.
Mhm.
And so she just let me be down in the pasture with the horse. And this horse had babies, and they never
Mm.
hurt me or anything like that. But at that time, your vocal cords aren't really developed. But I could easily talk to the horse because I didn't have to use
Mhm.
them. And that's the same as with all of our kids. They can talk to animals when they're really, really little. And
Mhm.
they also can see or feel different spirits. Like, let's say you have your parents are dead or something like that, and they've passed, and they can come and visit, your newborn baby, and your newborn baby knows who they are. But what happens
Mm.
is, as we grow a little bit bigger, we're conditioned to go and connect with our parents. But when you're a newborn baby, you can't even like scratch your nose. This body doesn't work. Okay, your soul might be in there like ah,
Mhm.
hello, mom, but it just doesn't work, and so you get a little frustrated. And then, but also you realize you have to make a connection. You have to make
Mhm.
a connection, and your parents teach you that too. Say mommy, say daddy, but this all has to develop. Okay, and so you learn then to go their way. When you do that, you start to lose interspecies communications. So by my
Mhm.
mom putting me out with a horse, I had an easier time talking to the horse, and she'd tell me all different sorts of things. She like told me how to be and how to be treat people nice and everything. And people, you have to understand, we lived like on a 2-lane highway for then, and so people all of a sudden like see this baby out with this big old horse and another baby, and they go ah, and I would hear screeching brakes, and I like all of a sudden I start getting mad because I knew somebody was going to come and try to rescue me.
Mhm.
And I didn't want that. And Della used to push me with her head. I was so small that her head pushing me. She pushed me, and she pushed me to them. And I go, I don't want. They're going to hurt me. She goes, they are being very selfless. You need to let them rescue you. And I'm like, ah.
Mm.
And then they would grab me, but because their adrenaline was running, and we're always unaware of our bodies and stuff, they would grab me like this. So it really, like, even now today when somebody grabs me on my ribs, I remember that, and I'm like, that was then, and this is now. And I say, please don't grab me on my ribs.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
they would run up to the door, and they go bang, 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 bang. They never went ding dong,
Mhm.
because they were all freaked out. And my mom would take her time, and she'd come out, and they were always holding me up like this. And she always had her eyes were always sparkly, like, ooh, this could be fun. And she'd say yes, and she'd totally ignore me. And they would say, is this your baby? Da da da. We found this baby, down in the thing. And she'd look at me and she'd like count, like wait until they were like almost freaking out again. And she'd go, yes. And they go, but why did you have your baby in there? And then they would chastise her and say like da 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 da, all his judgments and everything else. And she'd always just wait and let them say everything they were going to say. The whole time they're shaking me. I'm being abused by them, not my mom. And it was so funny because when they did that, they finally she just let them until they finally went blah, and then she lick him and she'd say she's not dead yet, and she would say that every time, and that just made them go whoop, and I'd slide out of their hands, and I'd run behind my mom, and I'd run through the living room, and there was 2 steps going up to like this kitchen area where there's a really big glass door, and the
Mhm.
glass door was always open, and I was so small I had to use my hands to get up the 2 steps, and at the back gate Della would be opening it, and I'd run back there behind the house where nobody could see me from the road with Della. My
Mhm.
mom would come out later and she'd feed her, cut up carrots. So that's how I started doing it. I just always done it. I mean, I didn't know that other people couldn't do it. I thought you were just quiet about it. Like
Uh-huh.
it's some of those things you don't tell outside the door or something. I didn't know. I had no idea.
Mm. And when you say make a connection, do you mean that just in like the traditional sense of like, friendship, like I need to connect with somebody, or is it like a different thing that you're doing when you're a child where you need to connect with like
No,
anything
no,
around
it's
you?
natural. It's an
Mm.
innate intuitive ability. We all have it, but we find that when we're little and we're conditioned, you know, we push away from it because that's not what our parents wanted. So
Mm.
this human
Mm.
body is very different. I mean, we all know that like when you pass, the body stays somewhere and you go somewhere. Okay? And nobody will argue with that because it's a sense that you just have. You may not understand where you go or whatever. Like, oh, I know I go somewhere. I hope it's going to be a good place or whatever. You may not have that info, but
Mm.
it's just not the same. That's why you can go, oh, I knew that. I should have listened to myself. I knew I shouldn't have done something else. But we get conditioned. We
Mm.
absolutely get conditioned to do it. It's like you can walk into a room and all of a sudden the hair on your back will go up and you'll go like, everybody okay in here? And it's really
Mhm.
funny because most of the time whoever was doing that type of energy, whether they're arguing or whatever, go, yes, everything's fine. And you're going, liar. You already know that they're lying. Because interspecies communications, what I do, and I'm talking to animals and people or whatever, it's just a language of truth. And
Mm.
truth always prevails. It always shows. But you have to not be judging yourself for going, what is it? What is it? What is it? Because when we ask a question, we are trained, all our neurons, everything, to go, where's the human to answer it for us? Because when we're a little kid, they tell us what their world is like, and that's the one we're supposed to live in, not the
Uh,
natural world.
mm. Okay.
You
So
know,
was your parents or mother like always, and did you grow up in California? You're hard to research. Was it in California that you grew up?
I'm hard to research. Oh, I'm all over the place. Yeah, I grew up in California.
Okay.
I'm a
Um,
native Californian, which is
mm,
very different than
I know back
other
when it was
places, but
not filled with people.
and when you say connect, it's like we're talking now, we're connecting. Anytime you're
Mhm.
looking at something, you're thinking about something, you're connected. But how
Mm.
are you connected? And to me, it's like I always come from sharing because like if I have this pen here and I hand it over to you, which somebody so you can hold up a pen. Okay, like okay, I'll pretend this is your hand. Okay, so I'll pretend this is your hand, okay?
Oh, okay.
So this is my hand and I have this pen and I hand it to you. Now it's your pen. Now I hand it back to me. Now it back to you. There's a separation here that
Yeah.
the body doesn't know how to connect. But when we go like this, we're connected because we're sharing the pen.
Mm.
We're sharing. So whenever like oh, here's a tip for everybody. Like whenever you're wanting to talk to your animal friend, you normally go like, "What's going on? Why are you doing that?" But when you ask a question, your neurons are, "Where's the human? Where's the human?" But when you say, share with me why you're doing what you're doing, you're connected. But the
Mm.
moment you go, what's going on? They're like, well,
It's a really hard
we're
habit to
telling you.
break.
It doesn't work. But when you're sharing, it does.
Hmm.
And then you just have to get out of your own way without judgments and stuff like that. I mean, every
Mm.
day, I don't know. I don't know what questions you're going to ask me. I have no
Mm.
idea. But I'm not going, or no, you have to ask me a certain thing or not. So I talk to people and animals all day long, and
Hmm.
sometimes it doesn't even make any sense to me. And I'm like, does this resonate with you? Does this make sense? And they're going, yeah. And I go, okay, great. I don't live with them.
Yeah.
I don't live with them. And sometimes animals are really private and they just say enough for you to understand their owners, their people, but nobody else.
Uh,
And that's okay. I'm fine with that.
yeah.
And if they
Um,
lie, I know that they're lying and I'll tell you that they're lying. But, and yes, animals lie just like people.
mhm.
Sometimes we lie to ourselves and sometimes they do too.
Mhm.
It's just different. So you look at them as animals and kitties and doggies and all that, but they're souls.
Yeah.
They're just down here playing a different in our game, connected to us, but have a different role.
All right. Well, previously you supported yourself and your family with disability, but you never did a lick of marketing. You only did word by mouth. Word
Yeah,
by mouth.
Yeah.
And your daughter Holly
Believe it or
is the
not,
one.
I'm very shy. I was like,
No way.
no, it's okay. People found me. I mean, they've always found me. You
Yeah.
know.
What was your experience once you did get onto that online presence and like that new
Well, with
look that you got from TikTok?
TikTok, my daughter did that. My daughter put me on. I didn't know, and it broke
Mm.
my website immediately. And I was like, wow, like what is going on? Because I'm not a computer person, as you saw earlier
Yeah.
today. And so I was like, well, okay. But the animals just said you have to do it, and I went like, what? Like, yes, you have to do it. It's time. And I went like,
Oh,
okay, because they've never led me wrong. I mean,
yeah.
never. So I feel
Hmm.
very honored to be able to help people, and the people were really nice. I mean, it's nowadays you can talk to people about things like that, whereas before a lot of times it scared people because
Hmm.
truth is truth, and sometimes people don't want to see the truth.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't for whatever reason, and I'm very empathic too, and it's like so I could feel everything that everybody else was feeling too.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I get my daddy told me
So,
not to do it too.
oh yeah.
He used to call me Pumpkin and say, Pumpkin, don't do that anymore. I'm like, I'm trying, I couldn't help it, you know?
Yeah. So, does that mean that energy and like spiritualities can still like penetrate through this online world? Because a lot of the time, sometimes I feel like the internet is like just such a or not a dead space, but like it can feel soulless. But do you think that energy and like things happening for a reason still occurs, even though things are happening online now?
Well, the way that you're expressing that is a little
Uh,
confusing. Like it's a little bit over
oh.
here. Like you're still like, what is this puzzle? And it's not a puzzle because energy always runs first. Always. The energy's always there. You've already lived this life pretty well. You've set it up. You set your parents up, the whole 9 yards. You picked them. So like when some people go like, "Well, I had a lousy childhood or whatever." Okay, my heart goes out to you, but at the same time, why did you want that? What was it that was so important to relive certain things or a certain way to help you to become more consciously aware and remember who you really are? So it's very, very different. That's why you can have deja vus. You're like, oh my gosh, or I feel like I've been here before, or you know what's
Mm,
going to happen. It's always there. And it's not something like, whoa, you know. Like right now, the energy is so loud. It's almost like I like to use analogies, and I don't know if you ever remembered the original Ghostbuster movie.
I don't
But
know.
okay, well you'll have to watch it now, okay? But when it
Okay.
first came out, the special effects were something that we never saw before. Like it was like,
Yeah.
wow, okay, it was very different. But there's a part in it where they catch all the ghosts or whatever, they have them all locked up, and then all of a sudden they're all loose and they're all going around. Well, right now there's energies like that all over the place, and it's making you think about your past, all different sort of things, and there's no place to run
Mm,
because that's what call it God, call it the cosmos, the universe, creation. I just call it existence. It's sending that energy down for us to become better because it's for a
mm,
higher purpose. And so the only control you have is how are you going to embrace it because
mm,
there's no place to run away. There's no place.
mm,
It's because we're here and we're living through it, and it's for to betterment. So right now, a lot of people are getting a lot of growth and but they go, no, I don't want it anymore. Like I tell people, if they end up in listening to me, like even in this program, there's a part of them that wants to learn. There's a part of them wants to grow. They want to better themselves. Because if you didn't, boy, they would like their computer go. They wouldn't be able to watch the program, or they go be busy something else. So if you don't want to grow, it's like run from hearing my name because
mm.
I'm like a beacon for that.
You making me cry.
Well, give
I'm
yourself a hug.
interviewing. I'm interviewing.
There's nothing wrong with crying, honey.
And
There's nothing wrong with crying. That's why people go, no, I have to act a certain way. Yeah, like that. It doesn't matter.
mm,
You wake me up in the middle of the night or during the morning or whatever. I just am who I am.
mhm, mm,
You got to learn to dance you.
yeah. You said before that you work with animals and spirits and plants, but you also work with people. What
hmm
is the difference between interacting with the soul of a plant or an animal versus me.
Well, you can't just put it in black and white. Well, I guess you could, but I don't. It's like, what's the difference between you and your neighbor? You both have different likes and personalities, and you see things from your own perspective. Like, in this
Oh,
interview,
okay.
when we think about it, I might go, "Oh, I remember you had some sort of flowers or something, or was it water? I could never figure it out." And you go, "What are you talking about?" But see, that's my picture of seeing what's behind you. Whereas you're going to say, "Oh, you had stripes. Was that light? What was
Hmm.
that?" We're both in the same room, but we have different perspectives all the time. And one
Okay.
of the biggest things that's very different from us and every other soul that's here that's not a human is that they can see more. We are blocked. You don't look around and see all the dead people walking around or the blobs of energy going here or there or whatever.
Yeah.
But animals do all the time. That's why when we say, you're okay, they're like, no, don't tell me that. How can you tell me that? You don't even see the dead people walking around. So you have to say, I don't sense any danger right now. And you have to say, look, if I felt there was danger and I was about to die, I would feel it. I know I would because everybody does. Every soul does. They know. We pretend we don't know when we're going to die, but we do. Or
So
pass,
is
or whatever
that?
you want to call it. I don't know if, like on TikTok, using the dead word is really
I know.
unalive.
Yeah, I think that's a little much as well. But is that block that you're talking about the same block that
It's not a
causes us
block.
to
It's not a
lose?
block. It's how the body that you happen to drive. Like each car, think of all the different cars. If you're driving a Fred Flintstone car, it's very different than a Maserati, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Different bells and whistles. Theirs have a lot of different things. Like, here would be a way of maybe understanding it. You drive a car.
Mm.
Okay, so you've had the experience where you're driving the car and also you go, oh, I'm about to miss and you make your turn.
Yes.
But as you're doing it, you're like, where have I been for like 5 or 10 minutes? You don't even remember, but you didn't get in an accident or anything like that because being in the human body doesn't allow you to remember where you go. Whereas the animals go, I'm going to go take off. So they put their body kind of like on autopilot, like a little Roomba. So it has patterns that their human doesn't get worried, like, what's happening to my dog? What's happening to my cat? And they do a pattern, they leave that, and then they go and visit wherever they want to visit. So when you leave and your dog's like, oh, you're leaving me, and you take off, and then later you wonder, all of a sudden you sense your dog, or you think about your dog and go, oh, I hope they're okay. I hope they're not doing something wrong. Oh my God, oh my God. Well, the reason you feel them is because they came and visited you. They astral projected or whatever. They
Mm.
energetically are with you. And I teach people how to help it when they travel a lot or different things like that. So when you leave, you just tell them the truth. Look, I can't
Uh-huh.
take your body. It's not allowed to be in the building, whatever. But you can come along energetically and remember when you leave your body, put it on mellow, please. So that it's not jumping around, that it has some sort of control, that they take care of it. It's their responsibility. And then you'll feel them. And they'll sometimes they'll look like, what's going on? What's going on? But don't you ever sit with your animal friend after work? Let's say you didn't have I won't say that I'm going to use somebody else. They didn't have a very good time at work or whatever. And they go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, Fred was rough. And your animal friend goes, yeah, Fred was really a booger today. And you're like you can feel that. You can feel that they really understand because they were there watching.
You said that, well, right now you're in Mexico,
Yeah.
and you kind of alluded to me that the animals in the universe, told you to go there. Can you go into more detail, like about that, or like when it first came to
Well,
you?
they're putting me going around the world. So
Yeah, yeah, to go around the world.
they kicked me out of my comfort home or my cave, whatever, and said no, you time for you to travel. So right now I'm in Mexico because the weather over in Europe is not as nice as what is this Mexico, and I really admire a lot of things that are going on in Mexico now.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like me getting my feet wet, I guess, in that sense, and I'll work my way around. And like I just do what they say. So people go, well, how long are you going to be there in the town? I don't know yet. I'm on a need to know basis. They let me know.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
are these voices just always talking to you, or can you tune out
it's
some
not
or the
it's not like
other?
voices. It's
Yeah.
it's a knowing. It's not like
Oof.
I mean, there's no craziness here in the sense
Mhm.
of like people get voices in their head or whatever. That's something that's like totally different. This is very
Yeah.
um, soothing, calming, and very like it's not like a water that has or a lake that has like white caps on going like it. It's very
Mhm.
smooth. It's like glass because
Mm.
I'm tranquil and I'm just listening to all the energies and they align. That's why when people are talking to me, or I'll say, "Oh, well, what about this?" and they'll give, or the animal friend will give me an analogy or a different something, and I'll say it, and they'll go, "We were just talking about that." Well, the animal friend said that. If the animal friend said yellow ball with purple spots, I'd say yellow ball with purple spots. How hard is that? Say something to me. Just say something.
Spam.
Oh, so I'd say, oh, spam. No, that wasn't hard. Like, and I can say
Yeah.
something. I'll say beaver. Can you say beaver?
Beaver.
Oh, was that hard?
No.
No.
Mm.
It's that
Mm.
easy. But you have to
Yeah.
allow it, and you have to turn it from a different perspective than what you were originally trained for.
Mm. So is that connected? Well, I find that when I am like wanting to do something, or just like some of those things that feel innate to me, that like that knowing of just like something that I need to do or want to do, but then it's these other thoughts of what I would think, what I usually call my ego, of just like things that I don't like hearing, or things that I want or crave that are maybe not like the best for me. Why do they feel like they sometimes have equal weight? Is that just something that I'm, or like, and I'm sure this could apply to other people, other normal
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah. It applies to
Yeah.
everybody. It's what I call the human rigging.
What'd you say?
You know, that is the suit, the bodysuit. That's what the animals call it. You know, it's just a stupid
Uh,
human suit. And what it's trained to do is for you not to grow.
mm,
So that's why you have doubt. You have all these different things, and you go, "Oh, I'm gonna do it," and all of a sudden, ah. But you also have to remember you were conditioned to listen to the suit because your parents were conditioned, their parents were conditioned, and their parents were conditioned. So if you wanted love,
mm,
that's a way that you'll learn and say, "Oh, that's love." But it's not. It's a conditioning, and the suit doesn't want you to learn. So if you learn and you find out who you are and you and you become really happy, guess what? It doesn't get fed. It's almost like here comes another analogy that comes up is that it was a cartoon, um, Monsters Inc.
I almost think.
Okay, like they think they have to go and scare the kids, right? And then they get all this
Yeah.
energy, right? But what they learned was if they have laughter and love, it's so much more energy. Okay,
Mm,
and so it's kind of like that. But the suit, it's been trained, and that's one reason this energy is around is because it's kind of like a whole reset. Because we're really out of kilter, out of alignment, and that's everywhere. It
mm,
just it didn't align. It's kind of like the only way to fix this, like you sometimes your computer is like got to reboot it. But there's a thing called free will, and you're allowed to do that. And don't ever play with
mm,
anybody's free will because that's their right. They came here to be who they are for whatever reason. It's not
mm,
up to you to judge it or not. You don't have to walk in it.
mm,
You can walk away, but you don't have to be a booger about it or anything else. I mean, there's all different sorts of beings here, and
yeah.
souls and ages and all sorts of different things.
Or like, do you subscribe to the idea that there are like we have multiple paths? Like, like I could be either a doctor, or I could have been a doctor, but I've chosen a different path, and now I'm
Mhm.
doing this. So do you think there are physical things that will deter someone or change, like that people will get stuck into? I'm thinking about like homelessness or like drugs, that that changes like where they like, are they ever really becoming their true
They
self?
could that could have been what they wanted to experience. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people are very upset about abortions, and yet
Yeah.
I hear from souls all the time that that's what they wanted to experience and see what it was like. Now, do
Mm,
I agree with it? Do I disagree with it? That's moot point. That's what
mm,
they wanted to do, and it's their
mm,
free will to do that. That somehow that they had to do that. But yeah, you choose to turn right. You had all different options of what you could do or what you can't do. Neither one. I don't believe in really right or wrong. I believe in what's balance. Because if you
mm,
say, "Oh, I'm right. You're putting yourself it's like a box, and who's to say that that was right, and
Mm-hmm.
when you're wrong, or good or bad. And so like sometimes like when we're little and we want to go get good grades or excellent grades, but when we do things that are good, a lot of times, then when you do things that are excellent, like in school, it means that you comprehended whatever the concept was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've mastered it, and so now you can use it as a tool to go further. But a lot of times when you go, it's good. A lot of times, like especially like coaches, well, that was good. Now do it again. Now do it again. Now do it again. Now do it again. You don't quite reach it, and
Yeah.
so we always are constantly trying to be good, trying to be good,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's like we never get the mark, and that can be like even reaching for love or anything like that. And like when we say good boy to our animal friends, oh, good dog, good kitty, you know, instead of saying good dog, good kitty, talk to them. Like say, wow, that was really excellent. Wow, that was very surprising. And I'm impressed with how you had manners. I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk to animals any different than I'm talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll say, oh, excuse me, are you acting stupid today? Should I start treating you like a stupid dog? Because I can say doggy down, doggy sit, doggy stay. And they're like, no, no, no. I said, thank you. So could you please quit being rude and have manners? And in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, I have what manners is. Like if you think, or anybody who's watching right now, if they think of that. Give me some adjectives of what a lady would be.
A lady is polite. A lady is kind. She is unapologetic.
Okay. Now give me some adjectives about a gentleman.
A gentleman is also polite. He is also kind. He is generous and confident.
Okay. So both those energies are pretty aligned with each other, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you thought that in your mind, and that's how it came out, right? Because you made a picture or whatever, a feeling, whatever you want to do. So you have those two thoughts, and they're together of energetically of what a gentleman or a lady is, and other people might have different thoughts of what they are to them. Now, if I go and say, well, what about slob? You see how that's
Dirty.
not on the
Yeah.
same frequency?
Gross. Yeah.
You see how that, okay? Because everything has a frequency.
Mm.
Like for instance, they say dogs can't see colors or different things, or it's different. Yes, it's different, but when we say red or we're looking at red, it has a vibration to it. So they know that when they see that vibration on us, that's what whatever we're looking at is red.
Mm.
It's just a different perspective,
Yeah.
but we're taught just to see this way,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
everything else doesn't exist, and that's just not true.
I'll shift us a little bit while I'm thinking about that. Um, do the animals have a feeling or any thoughts on like what is going on politically and like the like economic state of like the U.S. or all around the
All
world?
around the world right now, it's very balanced what's going on because everybody needs to wake up and see. And they constantly tell me that they're going to save the world. They're saving the people because when we get scared or whatever, and for those of us who have animals, we really connect with them. I mean, they're like our heart, And so the thing about that is because, when you wake up in the morning, how often do you say good morning to yourself? You
No,
don't.
not often.
How often do you give yourself hugs and loves and
Hmm.
kisses? You don't. So a lot of these beings that come and souls that come that as our animal friends, they might be a soul friend of yours.
Mm.
And they are here to help. That's part of the reason they're here to help, for you to be able to see yourself or better yourself. But when
Hmm.
you first start, after you've been so conditioned in being quote unquote believing you're human, that you put out, but you don't put it in. And so when you're going and you're hugging your dog or you're saying good morning to them, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel really good because you're using them as a conduit to say it to yourself. So
Mm.
your intimate self. So they are showing themselves and making it so you can't refuse what you're seeing with your eyes because our eyes are very jaded
Hmm.
from the conditioning of being human. So they're very rigged. And so we're seeing like all different sorts of interactions with animals that you wouldn't think would normally happen, whether it's a dog with a whale or whatever, all different sorts of things. And
Hmm.
because of the internet, and now it's not just like you're in a little neighborhood.
Yeah.
The little neighborhood is now the whole world.
Yeah.
and you're seeing all different things. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening in the United States that
Mm.
and the animals, like I said, like what's going on? And they just kept saying, "Oh, this is a gift. This is a gift." I'm like, "Can we give it back? Can we give it back?" Like, wait, what? But they said, "No, it's going to help people to see." And we got to see how people brought out what they were hiding inside of how they really felt. And now
Mm-hmm.
people are going, "No, I feel this way. No, I feel this way," which is okay. They're expressing, and each ones are choosing to express differently, but it's getting it out. They seem to say that, it's all will work its way out as it is, as it will be. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody needs to come from harmony and love.
Yeah. So with all these things that you're expressing to me, is these are things that you've known your whole life, or like these are inherent truths to you?
Um, I'm a good puppy. They teach me a lot. They show me a lot. And then, as I grow, I mean, it's like I get more information, and
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, because the truth shows itself. I can go into any room and I know who's lying, who's not, or whatever, or I can talk about any subject in a sense. I go like, well, I might use an analogy because I don't have the
Yeah.
scientific background or anything like that, but I'll say like, okay, would that be similar to this and this? And they go, yes, yes, because
Mm-hmm.
the energy is showing me that.
Yeah. But have you ever gotten, maybe even growing up when you were like a young adult, were you ever frustrated trying to express these certain things to people and people just not wanting to accept you?
Um, well, I got in trouble.
Yeah?
I got in trouble. Like, um, wasn't supposed to be doing that. Don't quit talking to the animals. You're not supposed to do things like that. When you're a little kid, it's like, oh, they talk to the dog or make little stories, right? You have little dolls or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. That was okay until it starts to be very, very true. Because like I would know things, and I remember going to conventions as a family because my father was very high up in the lumber industry, and there's like
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 families that were maybe there out of a few thousand people. And people would come up to my mom and say, "Oh, Winifred, da da da, I've been meaning to see you, da 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 da." And I'd be trying to protect my mommy and say, "Oh, mommy, that lady is a liar. She hates you." And my mom would go and hand me over to my brother and say, "Take her upstairs." But I was just protecting my mommy. I didn't know,
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
it just would show itself.
What does it look like to you when somebody or something is lying?
It just isn't true. But then have to see, why are they lying? Because we all lie. We're lying
Yeah.
right now, believing that we're human
Yeah.
and not coming from our souls. Because
Mm.
it's just a suit. It's like a vehicle. And that's why animals don't really care very much about passing, because when your car breaks down, what do? You go get another one. Not a big deal. And sometimes when animals are passing, they'll have me tell their people, like, go start looking for my new car. And I'm like, okay. And they'll find it,
Mhm.
and the people are like, really, like, wow, no, it's the same soul. It's just a different car.
Yeah.
I'm not the same as I was in my 20s, but I'm still
Uh-huh.
that person. Everybody grows. Every soul grows, whether you want to or not.
So what role do animals play in a world that is run by humans?
Well, I don't think the world is run by humans. I think humans think it's run by them, but it's really
Uh-huh.
run by energy, and
Mm-hmm.
is everything's already set. And so
Mm-hmm.
there, here is very what they tell me is this is a very dense frequency that's here. Let's just call it that. Like, see, like there I waited. I'm like, okay, you guys got a word you want me to use? No, not really, Shirley. Okay, how about frequency? Yeah, okay, go ahead, use that. Okay, so frequency.
Okay.
But see, if I go and I say, can you stare at my finger?
Mhm.
Okay, well, guess what? You're meditating. It's just not passive. It's 24/7 live. And this whole dimension, now they want me to use the word dimension, is but a meditation. Because we're here, there, and everywhere at the same time. Exactly how that works, I don't know. But I know
Mhm.
it's true.
Mm.
I know there's so much more of us being here. Like, it's like I tell people, like, see, I even keep toothpicks around, okay?
Okay.
Because I believe our soul is like a tree, and if you think about a tree and make a beautiful tree in your mind, And you have that picture and you turn it into toothpicks. Is there way too many toothpicks to count? But each one of these toothpicks, see, I mean, going, I can still have more here. These are all experiences. Like when you're saying, well, I turned right and then I could have turned left. These are all opportunities. They're all aspects of us, of our soul. So, you're the Sophia toothpick and I'm the Shirley one.
Mm-hmm.
And we're here and we have control over ourselves of how we think to connect to our souls. But that's how we're connected. So if you think about that and you hold it in your mind and you come from that aspect, you're going to see yourself be a lot more balanced, not so scared, a whole bunch of different things. Like if I told you right now to wiggle your toes, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody can go wiggling their toes right now, and probably 90% of the people who are wiggling their toes, they're not really wiggling their toes, their body's wiggling their toes because they didn't go from their toothpick self and say, hey, body, let's share, let's work together, let's be a team, let's wiggle the toes. And when you do that, the whole energy changes. You find that
Uh-huh.
if you were freaky or you were had anxiety or whatever, it all goes away because that's something that's caught in your body, but it's not caught in your soul. If you looked up at the stars at night, and what we see is but like a such a fraction of what's really there,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that because we learned that in science. But that's the same as the toothpick. We're a fraction, but it's endless, and we're all together anyway. We're all together. We're all one, but we're just different toothpicks. So it's all different layers.
When the body is filled with anxiety or like that tension, is that something that is invited into the body?
Well, you did. You allowed it to come in,
Yeah.
and it might be
How?
on. It might be something that you're having because that's something that you wanted to experience too. Or
Mm,
there's certain things that you like likes and dislikes that you have from the time you were really tiny that you don't
mm,
remember when you ever liked it. But if you think about things that like you love, why do you love it? You just do. You just love it. But
yeah.
you might have like for instance, okay, so I came in and yes, I have all these abilities or they were like broadened or whatever you want to call it. Not gifts. They're there. If you want to know what a gift is, that's called having common sense. Common sense is a gift. Everybody thinks they have it, but not everybody has it. And those who really have it realizes that. But those who don't really have it, you couldn't tell them that they don't have it.
Mm,
Okay,
uh-huh.
common sense is absolutely a gift. You can't train it, you can't teach it. It's either there or it's not. I used to when I was very, very little, and again, I'm a shy person. I'm a very loving person, I'm very shy, and yet at the same time, I'm very stubborn. So you know, if don't
Mhm.
be hurting anything over here. And I'm only 5 feet, and somebody's 6'5" or whatever. I'll say, "Excuse me," and believe me, they'll stop. Okay,
Mm,
because I'm like saying, go pick on yourself. In fact, why don't you go try loving yourself? Because isn't that what you really want to do?
mhm.
Because you're so upset, and you're not going to find what you're looking for here, and I'm not going to let you do it. So turn yourself around and go for it somewhere else, not here. But a lot of times I don't even have it coming into my realm because I don't think that way. So when I was very young, my mom would take me shopping with her because there wasn't a lot of babysitters or whatever, and I just
Mhm.
really didn't like it. And there's little old ladies where she was, and I just remember the beehive hairdo. Okay, so it was a long time ago, and I was maybe 4, and
Okay.
they would grab my hand and they oh look, ooh, you're an old soul, and I go, oh no, warning, 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 because I could feel like earthquake happening. And then they would say, you must be really wise. And I just go, ah! And I try to kick them. My mom would grab my hair or hold my hair back. And she'd say, Shirley, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I don't know. And I'd just be crying. But the thing about it is, I've been here so many times. Yes, I'm an old soul, but you'd think if I was wise, I would have figured it out by now.
Yeah.
So that came in with me. So it was like,
Okay.
and at the same time, I have a lot of I don't know, soul power or whatever you want to call it, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so it would rumble at seeing that because it was like a trigger.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. So it can be that way too. Like I said, we come in and we pick the parents that we pick for different reasons or whatever. But just because you're an old soul doesn't mean that you're really wise. It means that for whatever reason you've been hanging out here. And Until you figure it out, you're going to be hanging out here and keep coming back and back and back until you learn it because that's something we volunteered for.
Mhm.
And it's not like a lot of times animals don't want to come and be humans, or they were a human and they're so glad they're out, but you might be a soul friend of theirs that's still stuck here, so they come back as
Yeah.
an animal to help you. There's all so many different things. It's not just like A and B and C and D. How many languages are there in the world?
A lot.
It's just very, very different.
Hmm. Hmm. So, where does desire play a part in everything is already set out for us? I think
I
I
don't know.
find
It's
that,
whatever you set it up in the beginning.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean the screen. What is screenwriters, right? They've already
yeah,
written what the movie's going to be, right? And then they set it up, and everybody plays their part. Okay, and you either desire to play that part or not. And if
mhm,
sometimes there's people that are here and they go like, okay, I just can't hang out here anymore. But their body is supposed to be here for a while, so sometimes they will leave, or they'll trade. They'll say like, "Hey, anybody want this body?" And so sometimes I think they call that. I'm not with the words of how they call different things, but I think they call that a walk-in. Okay, well, animals also do that a little bit, but like your animal capacity, you have four other animals there, and that
mhm,
animal's around. It just doesn't have a body, and so it'll say to its other little sibling that you have there, "Can I borrow your body for a while so I can go get scratched by mom?" It's like borrowing your neighbor's car. Not a big deal. Okay, so there's just all these different things that we don't bother to think about. It's just very different. But as like, I can see you're a little complex. You're like, wow, okay,
yeah,
okay, okay, being me. But you also know I haven't lied to you at all, and everything
yeah,
I'm telling you is the truth, and it resonates through. But it totally changes some of your belief systems. Now you're going to go off
mhm,
thinking about it, going, wait a minute. But and when you do that, instead of going, wait a minute, just give yourself a hug and say, yeah, we're
mhm.
open to this. It's cool. Nobody's gonna die. I haven't killed anybody yet. It doesn't work. And
Mm,
even people who I train, I can say, okay, you might be having an up or a down day because when we clean, you're a crier. Okay, when you're cleaning and you're bringing more things in, you cry. So don't try to hide it or anything, but think about it from this point of view. If you wanted to buy new furniture, what are you gonna do with the old furniture? You got to move it first, or what are you gonna just put it on top?
mm,
So right now you're getting rid of old furniture so you have more room. Same as if you want to remodel something. And that's one way our animal friends are great about that because they can help us with that energy. I mean, a lot
mhm,
of times today, now a lot of animals have cancer.
mhm,
And sometimes it's because they see it coming in you and they pull it. And they say, "No, we're here for a fraction of a time. They're going to be here for 100 years. No, forget that. Let's give them a second chance."
mhm.
And one thing people say, "Well, tell them to give it back." I've only gotten two animals in all the years that I've been talking to animals that they were willing to give the illness back to the people. They're like, "Why? It's not a big deal. I just take it to the other side, go make a rainbow." And that's really about how they say it. Like, not a big deal. But it gives you like you go, wow. Just like when you have a near death experience, you can go like, wow, it was really amazing. And you feel lucky, but you also know how to change your life if you want to. And that's the whole big thing here. Do you want to? Okay. Do you want to? And then that you have to walk in, oh, you walk out of ignorance in a sense, but you're also very vulnerable. And there's so much power in being vulnerable. I mean, I never know who I'm going to talk to when my daughter was little. And she'd say, Mommy, how was your day? And I said, fine now. And she did really good. And she knew. She got it intuitively, in
Mhm.
that sense. I'm here. I'm 68 years old. A lot of people go, "What about your retirement? What are you doing?" Right? And they want security, and the animals have said, "Let it go. Let go of the house. Let go of everything." So I'm here with no car. I'm not knowing exactly where I go, but I'm on a need to know basis, and
Mhm.
they are letting me know, like, "Oh, don't go this way." Like we tried to take a plane like four times and it kept getting canceled and canceled and we're like, oh, this is like really strange. Like, what's going on? Finally, we go, okay, we're not even going to go there. We're going to go somewhere else. But the day that the last one that got canceled, or no, that one didn't get canceled, and we could have flown, but we were already had decided that we were doing something
Mm.
different. Um, is the day that they had the big earthquake in Acapulco.
Mm.
We would have been at the airport when the earthquake happened, or up in the air.
Yeah.
And if we had gone any of the other 4 days that got canceled, we would have been in one of the hotels that got evacuated.
Oh.
So was
Yeah.
I being, I guess, a little stubborn, like, oh, we're gonna make it. Let's push the energy. I guess so. And finally, we went like, oh, bend, bend, and we
Uh-huh.
did. So right now, there's lots of twists and turns, and sometimes if you want to go in a straight line, you have to do the twists and turns because there's a reason for the things. But you can't go like, oh, this bad thing happened to me because it was meant to be. You have to also remember that maybe you called it in.
What is something that people can do every day to like help get in touch with their true self?
Give themselves hugs. Say good morning to themselves. Like I tell people like when you first wake up, because when you first wake up you go, is it still dark out? Oh, it's still night. Okay, getting back to sleep. And then you wake up, you go, oh, it's light out. Okay, day's here, right? So be be grateful. So when you realize it's day, say, hey, good morning, day. Thank you for being here because day doesn't have to be here. So you have
Mm.
gratitude. Then say good morning to yourself and give yourself a
Mm.
really nice hug. And then
Mm.
say, have a wonderful day. So I did that. I even blow myself kisses,
Mm.
and I spread them all around. Okay. And I go, yeah. And I'm
Mm.
going to be kind. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be kind. And that's one of the mottos that animals always say, be kind, be better, be kind. It's that
Mm.
easy. And that also means that you have to do it to yourself. It's really easy to be a booger. Like when you could go, why? How does that help the world? You want to see the world be a better place? You quit being a booger. And
Mm.
especially quit being a booger to yourself. Because then that's going to open yourself up more. Just like when I was saying, when you want to talk to your animal friend, don't go, why are you doing this? What's going on? Don't take it personal. Say, share with me. Share with me what's going on. Share with me what you'd like to do. Share with me what you're trying to tell me that I'm not getting. And give yourself
Mm.
hope to go, God, this is frustrating, because then all of a sudden you said, I want to be frustrated. And that's all you're going to
Yeah.
hold.
Well, before we end it completely, can you go over what you kind of said in the beginning of like that the animals or the universe has said that like a big change is over everybody right now, and everybody is probably feeling something.
So all I can say is it's raining energetically more love than it's ever rained on all of us. But it's hard for us because we're looking with our eyes and we're seeing all these different awful things going on. Not
Yeah.
just one place in the world, other places. But so is Mother Earth. And look at how she's getting boils here and different sort of things there. And it's happening everywhere in whatever realm you want to say. It's not just, it's happening in existence. But this time never has happened before. And it's doing like I don't know, like if I'm saying about a computer, a reboot
Mm.
or a wiping
Yeah.
of the hard drive and then redoing it. Only we're
Mm.
not Atlantis and we're going to go down or whatever or disappear that way. But everything's
Mm.
changing, and the only thing you have control, or everybody loves to have control, is your choices. How are you going to embrace something? You're going to embrace it with love. You're going to embrace it with fear. You're going to embrace it like, no, get in the box, doggy heel.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Oh, okay.
And it falls back, and you're getting a lot of memories, and a lot of stuff is coming up, and you're clearing stuff out because you have to clear yourself out in order to be able to get new things in.
Mm.
But you need to do it with love. Everybody does, even animals. And sometimes we can see our animals get grumpy, and remember, they're a reflection. What are they responding to? What are they trying to show you? What's
Mm.
really the picture that's behind that? Right now, everybody's looking within. They're looking for their answer, but the answer's already here. What do you want? Whatever you want, you can have, but you have to
Mm.
walk it, and hopefully you walk it with love.
Mm.
Because everybody comes from eternal love. And like animals go, how can we die? We're eternal love. And so they're like, no, it doesn't stop here. When your animal friend passes or whatever, they're still around you. So are all
Mm.
your loved ones. It's just we're taught not to see them.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you like to get heard? Don't you like to
Yeah.
get seen? Do you like people doing a monologue about you? Oh, this is how you are, or whatever? No, nobody does.
Mm-hmm.
And we all look in the mirror. And don't when you
Mm-hmm.
walk by the mirror go like that. Then look if you're going no, look at me. Look at how you're treating yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And and you're a beautiful being, a beautiful essence. Everybody here is a winner. Everybody. Remember, what
Mm-hmm.
is it? One egg and how many millions of cells, and just
Yeah.
one of them went, and it made
Mm-hmm.
you. It made you. So you
Oh,
started out a winner. You're gonna be a winner all the way through. Even when you make mistakes, it's just a mistake. Give yourself a hug. Even if
mm-hmm.
you're doing things and I don't want to change. Well, maybe then on your soul it needed to see that somehow it's learning something. Doesn't mean that I'm into that and I want to be around you, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I always try to play a compliment to animals that I talk to that are willing to talk to me because they don't have to. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes one will be a real big booger, and I'll say, well, between a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being a really huge booger, I give you a 15. And I'm really glad you don't live with me. And they'll go, oh, why, thank you. Because they're happy. See what a
Yeah.
great booger I am. I get number one position.
Mm.
You know, each their own. Each their own.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sitting down and having this interview. This was awesome.
You're welcome.
And if you guys, anybody watching this wants to talk to Shirley on their own, you can find her website linked down and all of her social medias.
Yeah, my website is openmind, the number two, animals, plural.com. And there's videos on there and testimonials, and there's a lot of information there too. Go have fun. Prove me wrong.
Check out more from RVA Magazine at rvamag.com. Be sure to sign up for our newsletter and check us out on Instagram and Reddit. This is Landon Schroeder for RVA Magazine. Talk soon.
Hear those sirens outside, I think it's going